4 saves with his feet in that game, 11 this season with his feet. Let's just put that in perspective. Second to him is Leno of Arsenal with 4. How and why is he so far ahead in terms of using his feet?
Well, it's a technique, isn't it? So you can see, particularly on that save there, you can see that when Harry Kane's about to strike the ball, he actually stands up quite tall, and he actually almost goes back on his heels a little bit, and that's part of his technique, and it's something that he's been using as a kid growing up. That's been taught to him or said to him, you know, use that. You're good at it. Use your feet. And I think it just works really well for him. You know, you could say from a technical perspective, no, it's not 100%. However, it doesn't matter because the ultimate goal...
What do you mean it's not 100% from a technical perspective?
Realistically, from that sort of distance, if you were teaching a new goalkeeper today, I would be more about being a bit body weight, a bit more forward and being in a position where you can actually react with your hands or with your feet if you really need to, but more about with your hands to try and hold the ball or parry the ball out for a corner. So he's obviously taught that way, or he's adapted that technique to use his feet. So for me, it doesn't matter in the end. It's about saving the ball, stopping the ball from going to the back of the net. And the guy is brilliant at doing it, and that's why he's used his feet, or made 11 saves with his feet this season. You know, miles ahead of anyone else.
It's more than double. So he clearly uses his feet unusually more than most goalkeepers.
It's quite clear that he feels comfortable goalkeeping that way. Whether you're taught that, you know, I was interested. I was asking Mark off air that, you know, a lot of Spanish goalkeepers do join in a lot of possessions to get used to the ball at their feet. Now, whether that relates to saving the ball with their feet, but what interesting for me as a striker's perspective, that kind of knowing that you're up against a keeper that's very good with his feet, that kind of puts a little bit of doubt in your mind when you're looking to strike the ball, because anything in and around him, he's going to save. If he's not going to save with his hand, he's going to save with his feet. So you've actually got to go really concentrate to get into those corners. So he's one of the world's best goalkeepers, but he obviously feels comfortable in the way that he saves the ball.
You can just see there on that last save that he made, he's actually, as Harry Kane hits the ball, he actually jumps a little bit, and then his legs actually go outward a bit, so wider than his shoulder width. So there's only really one option for him to make a save, is with his feet. So he's actually setting himself up for it. He's knowing, right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be big, and I'm going to use my feet, use my hands wherever the ball comes. So if the ball comes to my feet, I'm just going to stick my foot out and block it. And that's what he does, and he does it extremely well.
Would you say that then maybe he's a little bit uncomfortable of going down, he's not quick enough to get down with his hands?
I wouldn't say he's not quick enough. It's just a technique. It's something that he's learnt, that's something that he's adapted to, and it's something that he feels most comfortable doing since he's done it throughout his whole career. And you wouldn't go and change it because he's so good at it. Yeah. You know, if you're that good at it and you're preventing goals and you're winning games like he does for United time and time again, stick with it, go with it.
So why don't more goalkeepers do it?
Like I said, it's down to technique. It's down to how you've been brought up, how you've been taught, how you feel most comfortable making a save. And from what I've always been taught throughout my career it wasn't about using your feet. Feet were almost like a bit of a last sort of option, or the ones that are really, really tight to you. You just turn your foot and stick your foot out to make the block. The rest of the time, you try and get in a position where you are body weight forward and you can either make the save with your hands going down or high. Your feet are there to help out if you need be, but generally try and make a save with your hands.
But when you think of Manchester City or Liverpool goalkeepers who are exceptionally good with their feet, they're very comfortable dribbling the ball and also pinpoint passes, you know, in the role of a midfield playmaker, but we don't see David De Gea do that.
No,
do we?
But he's very good at...
No, I'm not criticising him.
No.
So he isn't necessarily somebody who's really comfortable with the ball at his feet. Maybe it's just an instinctive thing that he's honed, and it is, as you say, quicker to get them...
Yeah, mate, well, only he can answer that, can't he? It'd be interesting for someone to actually put that question to him and these stats to him and hear what he has to say. But goalkeeping in this country has certainly changed, hasn't it, with the new influx of the quality keepers that have come in. Because when I was growing up, when Mark was coming in, you know, you wanted a goalkeeper to come out, have a presence and catch the ball. A lot of goalkeepers come out now when they can, and we can all see that they can catch it, but they're punching it. Because that can almost, with the players and the way that teams counter-attack nowadays, that can almost set off a counter-attack. So as a player, so say I'm playing for Liverpool, and the cross comes in, I'm a Sane, I'm a Salah, and I know the keeper, he's not catching that. he's punching it, I'm ready, because we can counter-attack quicker. So it's changed, it's evolved, but De Gea just feels comfortable in that, and he's very, very good at it.
The thing with David De Gea is, just to interrupt, is that Edison, for example, at Manchester City, their team is set up to play out at the back. You know, Guardiola is instructing all the time. So you need a goalkeeper at the back that is like an outfield player. So he sets everything. He starts the play, whether it's a quick transition out the back, a short pass, or whether it's a long pass. David De Gea and Manchester United don't necessarily play that way. They do look to play out at the back, but only if it's absolutely 100% on. Otherwise, they will look to knock the ball long. So it's a different technique and a different style of football that they're playing. So that's not to say that David De Gea can't play that way. It's just that he hasn't played in a team that would play out at the back as often as, say, Manchester City does, or even Arsenal are trying to play now. And then the other thing, you know, when you talk about David De Gea in terms of, you know, making his saves with his feet, he definitely has been taught it throughout his career, and it's something that, because he's so good at it, you've got to allow him to go with it and run with it. And if you took that away from him, he actually probably wouldn't be as good a goalkeeper that he is.
Right, we've got a goalkeeper and a striker here, so give us an idea then. You said it would put a seed of doubt in your mind if you were going through. Ordinarily, you're going through one-on-one with a keeper. What's in your mind?
Score. Don't miss.
Yeah. I mean, you haven't got time to take... Well, you wouldn't have time to take into account this guy's good with his feet, I've got to do this, or have you?
Well, I think, you know, it's for me as a striker, if you're going through one-on-one, they're the most hardest chances to convert, because you have a lot more time to think about it. Goalkeepers have a lot more time to try and put you off, come out, etc., etc. So, you know, more strikers score more goals instinctively in and around the 18-yard box, inside the 18-yard box. So, you know, if I'm going one-on-one with De Gea or I'm instinctively hitting a shot, I'm trying to think, now, this guy's good with his feet. Now, whether you can process that straight away when it's in the heat of battle,
what if it is a scenario where you have got time, where you have got time to register?
Well, if I'm going on with De Gea, 1v1, and like Mark says, when it looks about, you're just about to pull the trigger and he stands up big and opens them legs. Personally, I would try and put it through his legs, because how many times you see them sort of goals, because he's making himself big, the goal shrinks a little bit, and it just depends how close you get to him, you know, whether you go round him. But if I know that, yeah, he's good with his feet, but also he opens them a little bit, I might be thinking, can I just fire that one through his...
That's the key is the distance.
Yeah, the distance.
Because like that Harry Kane shot there, the distance was so enough that he opens his legs up and he's able to use his feet. The closer you get to him, he's very, very good at blocking. He's very good at closing that gap. He doesn't concede very many goals between his legs, the closer it gets. So he's very, very good at that angle as well. And back to talk about goalkeepers parrying the ball. There's one thing when I came over to England, the very first time I went to Manchester City on trial, Alex Stepney was the goalkeeping coach, and he said to me was, you need to catch the ball, catch everything you possibly can, because that's what we do here in England. That's what we look for in goalkeepers, that they keep hold of the ball, catch it.
Pressure.
The game's completely changed. Goalkeepers hardly catch the ball anymore. Yeah.
Reverse the question. So when the striker's coming through, what do you look at?
I'm thinking, who is it? If it's Kev, I'm thinking, he's pretty good, you know, he's not bad. He scores a few goals. But I'm thinking he's playing it for Sunderland, and at the time I'm playing for Middlesbrough, so I've got to make sure if he does get past me, I at least hurt him a little bit.
But do you have time to process it? I mean, you've done your homework on the opposition anyway.
Yeah, but
as he gets the ball, you thinking he chips it or he...
Yeah, you know what? It's something like, and I get it. Like, so you look at David De Gea and you know how good he is with his feet, and there's that little bit of the way that back in our time you wouldn't analyse things as often unless it was a glaring. No, you wouldn't know. There wasn't the video analysis going on that you have today. Today, you'd look at it and go, right, OK, you get to a point where you know if I'm at a certain distance and I showed I'm going to shoot, he's going to step up a little bit and his legs are going to go open a bit more. That's when you'd look to play it through his legs. So I'd be the same with a striker. You're looking at the finer detail today. Today, you've got the technology, you've got the stuff at your disposal, you're watching everything. You're watching a striker bear down on goals and you're thinking, right, OK, what does he do? What little signs is he giving me to show me maybe what he may do, what trick he may do, how he's going to take a ball early. He may try and dummy, get around me. And that's one of the things you're looking for.
How do you disguise that?
Well, you know, one thing is when you're running through, try not to look at the keeper too much. Just concentrate, make your mind. It's the same with a penalty. Once you've made your mind, don't change your mind. And then it's about when you've got your head down, can you see? You can see the goalkeeper in your vision, and then you just make a decision. It's a decision at the time of what do I do? If he comes out quick, can I go round him? If he stays on his line or just comes off his line, then can I hit it hard and low into the corners? If he's a goalkeeper that stands up, you know, quite upright, I'm going hard and low. If he's a keeper that likes to get down, you know, quite low, then I'm going to be trying to hit it high into the corner. So it varies when you're bearing down on goal.
Let's finish where we started with David De Gea. You talked about maybe he can't get down quickly. You said he can. How far from a keeper? Where is the, I suppose they'd call it in cricket, the corridor of uncertainty, where it's probably too far for your foot, but awkward for your hand?
That comes down to the individual. That comes really down to technique. David De Gea, for example, and if I compare myself to David De Gea, which is a bad comparison, but if you look at David De Gea, he would be looking at a greater distance than I would be.
What, he could stretch further with it?
No, he would be using his feet a lot sooner than I would. That's what I mean. So for me, using my feet was always kind of a last-ditch resort. Whereas with David, it seems to be something that he's very comfortable with, and that he will go for it straight away if he needs to. It'd be his go-to if he needs it.
Do you think maybe other keepers or youngsters growing up will follow suit? I mean, aesthetically, it's not. We know what you keepers like. You love that top corner for the photographers.
Yeah, absolutely. Apparently, top hand you're not supposed to use as a goalkeeper, but anyway.
Oh, here we go.
That's a big debate. That's another debate altogether. But you know what? I think, listen, he's an icon at Manchester United. There'll be, you know, thousands and thousands of kids be watching him, idolising him and trying to mimic what he does on a football pitch, and rightly so, because he's so good.
Well, we talked about goal scoring at Sunderland. Of course, we have Sunderland's post-war record goal scorer with us. And they're in the headlines once again. Josh Maja, their current leading goal scorer. Academy product, just 20 years of age, young Englishman. It looks like Bordeaux. Are you surprised at this?
Yeah, very surprised.
That he's leaving or the destination?
Both. I think first and foremost, he's a fantastic young player. Very exciting. He's a goal scorer, as he's proved this season. He's got 16 goals for Sunderland, and I have to say, without him, Sunderland probably wouldn't be sitting third in the league. So he's massive for them. So I think, firstly, for them to be losing him is going to hurt them. Secondly, yeah, I'm very, very surprised, because he's been linked with quite a few big clubs in this country, and you would like to think that, you know, if he was to stay at the club, go and get another 15, 20 goals or whatever, go and get 25, 30 goals. One, you become a Sunderland legend straight away. They'll love you up there. And two, you'll get the move in the summer. So I just don't see the timing of it is right. I can only assume if someone's in his ear, whether it's his agent, whether it's family, just saying, look, you need to go and chase the money
he's
now.
I just have agreed to sign, and then his agent said no, he's not signing. And then that was the end of it. So there's obviously that advice, which is only normal. I mean, you know what? I think for the kid that he's done so well, I just find it really, really strange that the club is allowing it to happen, because they're ultimately in control of it. So it's obviously a financial thing. Yeah. Because the club obviously needs the $3.5 million or whatever it is. Because for me, I would have thought that keeping him, letting him go in the summer for free. Well, will he go for free? Because he's under 20. He's under 24 anyway, so he won't go actually for free. It'll be a compensation. So you will get something for him. And the more goals he scores, probably...
They're talking $3.5 million, so you wouldn't get anything like that.
No, but you will get something for him. But surely if you keep him and he helps you get promoted, that's worth more to you. Yeah. Is that not worth... I mean, I don't know what the figures are, but
I just feel for the kid,
more.
Is that, you know, development of we're talking about yet another young player going to maybe chase... If it is about the money, he's going to chase the money at 20. You've been playing professional football for not even 18 months. You know, you've got yourself 16 goals. Just continue doing what you're doing, surely. You know, that would be my advice to him. Continue playing at Sunderland, help them get promoted. Then you're in the Championship. Your money's going to go up if you want to stay at Sunderland. If you want to move on, that's fine. But just for your own development, why do you want to go across to France, where Bordeaux, I think, are 10th or 11th in the league? Sunderland are 3rd in League One. It looks like they could get promoted back to the Championship. He played in front of 47,000 people on Boxing Day. Will he play in front of that at Bordeaux? I'm not sure he will.
I think back yourself. You know, in this situation, he's got, 5 months left of the season. Back yourself to continue to score another 10, 12, 13, whatever it is, goals, help the club get promoted, and then make a decision. Then you'll probably have...
You'll have the cards then, won't you?
Yeah. But the difference of income for Sunderland than being in the Championship or League One is huge. I mean, the television money alone is about $5.5 million difference. And given they can not sell him now, they can keep him. To me, the numbers don't add up. Yeah. Why? Why would you let him go?
Well, that's a question that would need to be answered by the hierarchy at Sunderland. Who, you know, we're sitting here debating it, of course, and we can't really come up with a solution. We can only come up with guessing. We're guessing.
It doesn't look right, though, does it?
No, it doesn't look right. It's not right because you could half accept it if it was a right back or a midfielder that hasn't really, but it's your top goal scorer, the player in the position that gets you promoted out of leagues, the players that score goals. You know, you've got to keep hold of them. And if you know the figures you're talking about, the team is going to where they are, it just doesn't stack up. So, you know, until the lad, and if he does go, he comes out with a statement, you know, we're not going to know.
And as you said, stadium, 46,000, after all the troubles that Sunderland have gone through, it looked like they've got themselves sorted and they're moving in the right direction. The fans' involvement with the club now, they've never been closer. It's the first backward step for quite a while, isn't it? But this one could potentially be a real kick in the teeth.
Well, it could do, yeah, because it's so vitally important this season that Sunderland bounce back financially and from the supporters. But yeah, they'll always support the football club, and you know, we know the North East very well. But it's so important this year that they bounce back, and they've got themselves into a wonderful position. Jack Ross has done a great job there. He's recruited really well, and you know, they're looking strong in that league now. To go and lose your top goal scorer in the middle of January, you know, we're talking about Higuain going to Chelsea. It's so historically hard to get a top player in January to replace other players. You know, could they replace him? I can't see that happening.
And also, as you said, you know, if you had your chance to advise him, but what would you tell him about what it means to be a Sunderland hero, goal scorer?
So as I was saying, you know, to play football in the North East when it's fine is a fantastic place to play football, but it can also be the worst place to play football. But this kid's a club legend. He's working his way up to being a legend already. You know, if he could secure enough goals to help them get promotion back to the Championship, it'd be held in high esteem for a long, long time. So for him to move on now would diminish all that hard work that he's done in the academy and up to this point so far, because I frankly, the supporters won't forgive him for that.
How do you replace him?
That's the big challenge, isn't it, if you do lose him? And I think it's got to be a financial issue. It's got to be a case that the club see it as an opportunity to bring in money. It's a guaranteed thing. Promotion is not a guaranteed thing. However, I think if you do sell him, then that is even less likely to happen. You know, the kid's in a very difficult situation. It's his future. He's been advised rightly, wrongly, who knows? Only time will tell. But, you know, and it's easy for us from afar to sit back and say, you know what, he's got 5-6 months left of his contract, to say he should stay, he should go, whatever he should do. That's a really hard situation to be in, and particularly at 20 years old. You know, to make that
I would have thought
sort of
it's a great situation to be
No,
in. 20 years old, you're the leading goal scorer.
Absolutely.
You could get them promoted. Why?
But it's trying to make that right decision, isn't it? When you have a big decision like that in front of you, and sometimes it's actually better to have only one choice, because you can't really get that decision wrong, can you?
But the club can make it one choice. He's under contract.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep him.
That's the only reason I think is the club is selling him, is because they need to sell him. That's the only reason I can think about it. It doesn't make any other sense otherwise.
Yeah.